While the world's glued to the US-China economic fight, America's closest ally, Canada, is making a bold move of its own. Starting August 1st, President Trump plans a massive 35% tariff on Canadian goods not protected under the USMCA. That includes autos, parts that miss origin rules, oil, gas, and pretty much everything from lumber to chemicals. Some goods are already hit, like steel and aluminum, with a crushing 50% tariff since early 2025. Canada's answer. Prime Minister Mark Carney is fighting back with a $5 billion support package, $1.5 billion just for agriculture and forestry. Why? Because America's still Canada's #1 customer for food and processed agri-products, and if that trade stops, farmers, truckers, and factories all take the hit. This bailout helped stabilize supply chains while shifting exports toward Japan, South Korea, and the EU. Without it, Canada's economy could shrink up to 1%. But with it, experts say losses can be limited to just 0.2%. In just 1 year, Canadian exports to the US dropped by $8.7 billion. That's a 10% nosedive. Auto exports alone fell 23%. The steel sector, frozen under a 50% tariff. Contracts cancelled. Factories idle. But Canada's not standing still. Foreign Minister Anita Anand says they're racing to lock in new trade deals to cut US dependence. So far, Canada has free trade agreements with Indonesia, Ecuador, and tighter bonds across the Indo-Pacific. They also signed a historic EU defense pact, first of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. It means joint defense projects, cybersecurity coordination, support for Ukraine, and access to the EU's €150 billion defense fund. Carney pledged to raise Canada's defense budget to 2% of GDP by 2025, and 5% by 2035. And at home, Canada passed Bill C-5, the One Canadian Economy Act. It tears down internal trade barriers, speeds up energy projects, and boosts labor mobility coast to coast. The finance minister says this could lift GDP per capita by 4% by cutting inefficiencies that cost billions. Banks in Canada also shifting gears. RBC, TD, and Scotiabank are expanding globally and pushing for non-USD payment systems. That means less dependence on the US dollar, more stable trade, and fewer shocks from Washington's monetary moves. It's not just a reaction, it's a reinvention of how Canada plays in the global economy. Meanwhile, Trump's 35% tariff kicks in August 1st, and it's just the next chapter in his America First campaign. Earlier this year, Trump declared a national emergency blaming Canada for failing to stop fentanyl trafficking. That triggered the first wave, 25% tariffs on most Canadian imports. Now, it's 35% across the board. But here's the twist, this could backfire badly on US jobs and wallets. Trade with Canada supported 1.7 million US jobs in 2023, especially in autos, agriculture, and electronics. If this tariff goes through, thousands of those jobs are at serious risk. And it's not just jobs, prices for basics like food and electronics could spike overnight. Phones could cost $100 more. Groceries like beef and veggies could rise 10 to 15%. That's brutal for middle and low-income Americans already squeezed by inflation. Even corn prices could climb. A $4 bag might now cost $4.40. Doesn't sound like much, until it's every item, every trip. And if you're in the market for a car, brace yourself. Canadian vehicles could cost $3,000 to $5,000 more. With fewer new cars sold, used car prices would skyrocket too. Everyone pays the price. Economists say this tariff could slash US GDP by $100 billion if it stays in place 2 years. And retirees, especially those over 60, will be hit hard as their fixed incomes lose buying power. That's not all. On July 8th, Trump dropped another hammer, a 50% tariff on imported copper, also starting August 1st. While meant to target China, it'll hit Canada, one of the world's top copper suppliers, too. And Americans will pay for it. From electronics to construction, copper prices mean higher costs everywhere. Phones, TVs, computers, all more expensive. Homes and infrastructure too. It's inflation by policy. Meanwhile, Canada's copper sector might lose $200 million, but that's just 2% of their GDP. They'll survive. In the US, though, copper-dependent industries could lose 30,000 jobs, especially in Arizona, Utah, and Montana. And with higher production costs, car prices could jump another $500 to $1,000. It's not just economic pain, it's political fallout. In 2025, Trump told Canada, "Sign a better deal or we'll slam your auto industry with up to 100% tariffs." They didn't sign. The 25% tariffs came back, plus a 50% hit on steel and aluminum. Now, trade talks are frozen, and factories are hurting. Ford and Stellantis both posted billion-dollar losses. Auto sales between the US and Canada could drop by nearly 2 million vehicles this year alone. And Canada's steel towns are getting crushed, 1,000 jobs lost in just months. With US car prices up 30%, Canadians are turning to Korean, European, even Chinese cars. In America, families are paying $1,300 more a year just for basic goods, thanks to tariffs. Trump wanted to rebuild US industry. Instead, he's built a wall around it, raising prices, killing jobs, and shaking trust. Now, even Microsoft's laying off 9,000 workers amid high costs and shifting demand. It's the third major layoff this year. Game studios shut down, projects cancelled, and employees unsure about the future. Job growth has slowed. Consumer confidence is shaky. And Wall Street is watching closely. The real cost of this trade war. It's not just measured in GDP or stock prices. It's in every grocery bill, every layoff, every car price hike, and every sleepless night for families on a budget. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the Untold Compass for more eye-opening takes. And don't forget to share this video, because the real price of tariffs is paid by all of us.